Hello and welcome to another episode of the Molten Truth. I am your host, Zoey Michaels, and I am laughing because, as you know, this is a new podcast and I am new to the realm, and we just had a technical snafu that was a learning lesson for me, and thank goodness I have a real pro here in the studio. Her name is Brook Wright. She is the host of two podcast programs, and I believe there was maybe a third one way in the past. And not only does she do that, she is an advocate on two different levels: those who suffered sexual assault and those who have suffered from being around a bully. And I'm gonna let her just tell you her story, share what she has in mind to share with you. But you've got to meet this amazing person, so I'm gonna let her take it away.
Oh, thank you. So I am a podcast host for She Blair's podcast, and I've interviewed over 400 people now so far. And I've interviewed celebrities and non-celebrities. I've interviewed famous musicians like from Pink Floyd, from the band Survivor. I've interviewed people who've had their books turned to movies on like Lifetime. So, and I've interviewed a survivor that her episode was on a true crime show. So interviewed her. I've had multiple authors on and psychiatrists on, and yeah, that's about it on the podcast. And I'm an advocate for sexual assault because I was sexually assaulted in my early 20s. So now I just go around helping other people who have been sexually assaulted, including men. And I'm a bullying advocate. So I've been bullied in high school and in the workplace. So I know how it is now that I'm 37, how bullies don't stop being bullies even if you're older. So yeah, definitely. So that's about me, a little bit about me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot about you. I think one of the things I found fascinating, aside from the fact that you are an advocate, because most of us, when we endure something traumatic like what you endured with the bullying and then the sexual assault, we kind of want to walk away from that, forget it, delete it, move on with our life. Oh, yeah. And I know that you did the work to do that for yourself. But then you turned around and said, here, let me help you through that difficult situation. Yeah. And while I hope that most of us would feel that desire to help another human being because we have that, oh, I've been through this, I am qualified to help and I want to help. Mm-hmm. I think you're the first person I've ever actually met who said they are an advocate for that very thing that they endured. Mm-hmm. So I find that impressive.
Yeah, it's hard to get people sometimes to tell their stories because they don't really like talking about it much, especially men when they've been sexually assaulted. It's kind of hard for them to open up to, hey, I've been sexually assaulted by a woman, and by a woman I should be able to push her off. But sometimes things can backfire whenever you do try to push her off. So yeah, it's tough getting people to share their stories about sexual assault and bullying. So
absolutely. And I get the sexual assault because that's intensely private and, again, traumatic. Bullying, I've actually been in a situation where I felt that I was bullied at work. It actually led to no longer being employed by that company because someone I directly reported to was my bully. And then I think the whole atmosphere of that office was bully friendly, which is what led to that situation altogether. And thank goodness when I left what was really an awful company to begin with, it was actually one of those what you would call a blessing in disguise.
Oh yeah. And
thankfully, when I went to try to find work, because my self-esteem was wrapped up in my ability to do a job and to do a job well. And so, that really messed with my mind. I went going, was it me? Was it something I did? And I had to kind of go do research and backtrack and go, okay, what did I do? I sought out the advice of a subject matter expert, which is what a sane person is going to do.
Right.
And that led to me getting in trouble for trying to do my job better.
Yeah.
And I lost my job because I was trying to do my job better.
Man, it's crazy. That's crazy. So in the workplace, when it comes to bullying, I was bullied just this previous year. So around like December, January, February, I was bullied real bad. And so I had a heart attack at work because they were bullying me so bad that my heart was pounding and they had to call the ambulance for me. And I was in the hospital for 4 days. And I ended up having to go to therapy and then going to work after therapy. And every day after that happened, after I had my heart attack, my uncle passed away on. So I had the heart attack February 3rd. My uncle passed away February 28th. And I went back to work and they were just like adding on to the bullying. Like every day was a problem. Every day, every single day. So one guy, he called the boss, told the boss I called him fat. And I had to write a statement. Then the other guy, he lied on me and was telling the boss that I was pushing my work off on other people. And he got the other team lead to back him up because they was both waiting outside the office when I went to go report them. So they was both waiting outside the office to complain on me so that I would get in trouble. And I'm just like, what's going on here? And as you go up the ladder, like human resources, they didn't do anything. Even the boss's boss didn't do anything. And I'm like, what's the point of working at this job if they're just not taking any of the bullying serious by 13 leads? And the supervisor was good. He really didn't do anything. He didn't do anything but say, hey, you have to write a report because so-and-so complained on you. And I'm like, so you're not going to do anything about it? It was just a whole mess there with the workplace bullying.
Yeah. And I wonder if it was just, I mean, there's sometimes culture's a factor, you know, the corporate culture. Sometimes it's also the outside factors. In the case where I had my experience, and this is, you know, probably 15, close to 20 years ago, but it was during a time when employers were being incentivized to hire people. And so if you looked around this company, which for all practical purposes, we're just going to call it a call center sweatshop operation. And so every time they hired someone and that person was there for X amount of time, you know, they got a little extra money in their pocket. So I saw a lot of turnover in that job. So there should have been warning signs. You know, I should have been cluing in going, okay, my job is not protected. No matter how good I think I'm doing, I'm expendable. And so the least reason, and the reason I never imagined happening, was what ended up happening. And I was out the door just like so many other very good people at that job. I mean, real professionals who I later connected with just, you know, in other roles that I did in that city. But, you know, again, sometimes there's outside factors that reward the bullies.
Yep. Because nothing happened to them at all.
Yeah.
And they continue to bully people to this day because I've been getting feedback from people that I worked there with. They was like, yeah, it's just getting worse and worse. And I'm just like, it won't get any better. So what I do to get through workplace bullying is, of course, I ended up having to quit that one because it was better for my mental health and for my heart. So what I would have done in that situation was I would have just stayed away from them, you know, like keep my distance from them. Don't talk about them. Don't talk to them. Just keep my distance from them.
Keep your head down, do your job.
Yeah, just do your job, go home. They ask you how your day was, good. They ask you how you are, good. Good morning, goodbye. That's it. You don't have to talk to them about your life. Don't have to tell them any private things. Don't have to hang out with them outside of work. Don't have to hang out with them on lunch. Just go to work, do your job, leave.
Exactly.
Because that's what you're there for.
So true. Yeah. In my case, that was already the case, you know, pleasant interchange and then get down to job. But sometimes even that's not enough. But, you know, at the end of the day, you're right. You are in a toxic environment, and, you know, a person can only last so long in a toxic environment. So it's better to follow like in my case, the moment I had that trouble, my dad said to me, get out.
Yeah.
Start looking for your next job because there's a target on your back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, no, it's fine. I'm going to be optimistic and I'm going to go in. Dad was right.
Yep. Yep.
Listen to
And
the
your dad,
voice of experience.
yeah, your dad was 1,000% right. Get out while you can. And
Exactly.
now, yeah, and now when I like go to job interviews, then I have a list of questions. What's the turnover rate?
Yes.
Will I be able to progress in this job? Like, and within this job, am I going to be able to be, you know, progress in here, like move up levels and make more money? Is there options for that? Like, I have a list of questions that I'm ready available, and if they're not for me, then I do not take that job.
And absolutely right. You have to go in with your eyes wide open.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even if times financially might be, you know, you really need a job.
Mm-hmm.
It's not worth settling for a job. It's better to take your time, even if you've got to do temp jobs to keep afloat, but find an organization that values, that shows that it values its employees, that wants to retain them, that wants to see them move forward and, you know, does what they can to help them reach their goals.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
The best thing in my situation, going from that ugly company, 2 temp jobs later, I landed into a company that was everything one would wish for. I wound up at a place called Berkeley Technology Services in West Des Moines, Iowa. And what started out as a temporary job led to working in, at least at that point in time, I would have called my dream job. The work I did was just a normal job, but they made so much room for me to pursue things that were interesting to me. I was able to say, hey, why don't we have a an honor bar, you know, like snack bar system?
Yeah.
I got to put that together. Hey, why don't we have a, you know, we had a giant office. I'm like, why don't we have a newsletter? And guess who got to write the newsletter? And just, I got to do so many creative things.
Yeah.
Because they were willing to listen to my ideas and say, well, yeah, there's a good reason why we could do this from a business purpose. And I had so much fun on that job because I got to be me.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that's how jobs need to be. Like, they need to have, and I also think that they need to start having therapy at work, like therapists on the clock at work, because I feel like that will lower the workplace bullying, and it will lower the workplace like crime. Because I know people be going to work and they want to kill people and stuff. I feel like it would lower that crime rate.
Yeah. You know, you remind me of an interview I had recently with this I'm not sure if I would call her a wellness coach or a mental health coach, but Sabrina Del Duca. But she is focused on young people, people who are also in career changes later in life. But we were talking about her going to the schools and teaching these little ones. Now, this is how we should be processing our emotion and how we should handle these disagreements, because, you know, that's where people learn to kind of be who they are and how to manage their anger. And it doesn't really get taught in school. And that's why we have all the issues in the schools that we do.
Yeah.
But you saying that makes me think of that. Yeah, they need to have therapy at the adult work, but they need to start so much younger.
School too. Yes.
Use your words.
Yes.
Process the emotion. How does that make you feel? What constructively can you do to let that go and not repress it?
Yes. And people don't take that serious, that people need to be like seek therapists. They're like, oh, you're just soft. Oh, you're being too sensitive. Oh, this, that, and the other. No, people have real emotions, and they can really take those emotions out of hand sometimes. So
absolutely. And I wonder if it's, again, going back to, you know, here in the United States, the culture is you don't really show your emotion. You repress it, you know. You do it privately, if you do it at all, right? Sometimes you repress it and you just continue repressing, and you never get that release until one day it either all comes out, or so it's like an explosion or an implosion.
Yep.
One way or another, it's going somewhere.
Yep. Like the story of the guy. I don't know if you heard, but out here in Louisville, Kentucky, the guy was working at the bank, at a big bank. It was a big bank downtown, and you know, downtown is like where the big companies are, the headquarters and stuff. So he was working at a bank, and he was a not the bank teller, but what is the other one? A banker. He was a banker, and he ended up, you know, getting fired from his job because he got into it with someone else because the other person was bothering him. And so he ended up blowing up and ended up going to work the next day. And he wasn't supposed to be working there, going to work the next day with a gun. And he shot at least 3-4 people and killed them. And I'm just like, this could have been prevented. It could have been prevented if they had therapists there, if they had psychiatrists there, if they had help. But nope, didn't have it.
Exactly. Or even if an organization does have a facility for that, I will use, without saying the name of the organization I might do for my day job. I do work in a medical facility, and so I'm very happy that the place I work with does have that on their mind. They actually do have a resource for its employees. And the thing is, when you work for a really big company, the way this is a very big company, a lot of the information's available and it could get lost in the shuffle. So one of the things I really have come to appreciate, it's kind of a running joke, but every time we have a team meeting, without fail, our manager says, and if you're feeling stressed out or this or that, here's this resource.
Yeah.
And, you know, we all kind of laugh and chuckle at her, but you know what? I never thought I would use that resource. I actually did use that resource once. So, you know, if companies think to have that and make sure that their employees really are aware of that resource to help them.
Yes. And I feel like companies make enough they make enough money to have a therapist in the office. Yeah. Like they make enough money, but I think some of them are really, really greedy. And I'm just like, you can afford to have a therapist for your employers. Like, if you really cared about them, you could afford it.
Right. But I tell you who needs people who work in the mortgage business. They are stressed. And I know that firsthand because I used to be one of them.
Oh, man, no.
Those are people who really need, like, not just the therapist, but also like a massage therapist and whatever else, because they are some stressed people. Man. Everyone wants their mortgage on the first of the month.
But yeah, that's it. Any other questions?
Oh, all kinds. But, so let's talk a little bit about just how you happened to become a podcast host. What drove you in that direction?
Oh, what drove me into being a podcaster? So in 2020, I used to listen to a lot of podcasts. In 2020, the COVID happened. Mm-hmm. And so we was all at home for like months. And so I was like, let me just start a podcast. And I started it. And I tell you what, my first season was terrible. I was such a bad podcaster. Like, I didn't know what questions to ask. I was nervous. I was cutting them off. I was like, they were small episodes. And I'm just like, I don't know what to do. But what started it was me and wanting to help people. Like, that was my main goal, to help people. Yeah. And I was like, what's another way I can help them besides being an advocate? I can get their stories out there and let them help other people as well. So I was just like, let me just start it. Let me get these authors on. Let me get these coaches on, because I've interviewed coaches. Let me get these musicians on, because musicians sometimes have problems too, like issues. And yeah, so I started to add more people, and now I got 400 people on. Amazing. So yeah.
Well, and here's a side benefit you never thought of. And going back to our talk about people needing therapy, it was an unexpected bonus in my case, as I was a guest on podcast episodes just these past, I guess, 5 months. that the more I talked about the thing that caused me to write my book about helping people prevent from being scammed, the more I talked about it, the more I healed. And I did not know there was such a thing as affect labeling. I later learned that, like 5-6 episodes later of being a guest. But you're not a qualified therapist, but it's still kind of a form of therapy for people as they share their story. They're healing. They're facing those wounds and letting them heal. So added bonus, that you got to help people that way too.
Yeah. And as you're speaking about scams, I got to show you something. Hold on. So I think I got scammed. Somebody wrote me a check. Oh, you can't see. So somebody wrote me a check. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Somebody wrote me a check.
Yes, I see that. Yes.
For like $5,522, right? And it was supposed to be for a job. And they was trying to get into my account. So I called the job and I was like, so did you all send me a check for $5,000 to get office equipment? And they was like, no, ma'am, we didn't. And I was like, they're trying to get into my account to try to see what money I have to try to take my money. And I was like, no, I'm not falling for that. So I blocked them. And I was like, now I see how she got scammed because I almost got scammed.
Yeah. That's the thing. The scammers they are not just individual onesie-twosies. They are full-fledged criminal organizations.
Yeah.
And they have all kinds of resources behind them. Now they have AI technology to help them, with their skill set to be even more tricky than they were before.
Yeah.
And absolutely. That was my issue, was that I thought I knew what to look for. And that was the thing. I trusted my experience, and you can't, because they adapt, they change. They are the Borg, if you're a Star Trek fan, of the criminal world. You too will be assimilated.
Man, they got to pay attention out there. Because they're really good. He almost got me. He almost got my account. He was close. And I was like, block. As soon as I called the company, I was like, block. And blocked them.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's good that you were able to actually reach someone in the company, because sometimes you do your homework, you do your due diligence. I sure did. I tried every which way to try to do due diligence, and ran into nothing definitive, and that was the problem. So it was literally a coin toss. Like, it could be legitimate. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. But that's, they stick close enough to the truth to be deceptive.
Yeah.
So thank goodness you found someone who could validate and go, no, this is a scam.
Yeah. And I was like, so why can't y'all just do direct deposit instead of sending me a check? And they was like, oh, well, our company doesn't do direct deposit. And I know companies do direct deposit. I'm like, I'm not stupid.
Nope.
But yeah.
But you better believe if there's a way that they can manipulate direct deposit into the scam world, they will find a way to do that too. They'll find themselves some kind of proxy. So even that,
Man.
Oh, yeah.
They tried me. They tried.
Yeah. I'm to a point where I think, wow, I would love to go back in time and live in my parents' generation. Before things became so high tech. And don't get me wrong, I love that I can talk to you via video stream like this. I love the conveniences that we have today. But I envy them those face-to-face relationships with their banker, with their insurance guy. No business was really done unless they did it in person first and had that rapport. And then they might do a little bit of phone, but that was the norm when I was growing up.
Yeah.
I am Generation X, right? So I got to see firsthand the way the baby boomers did their thing. And there was just my parents, I never once remember my parents ever being scammed by anyone, because they only interacted with people they actually knew who were in valid businesses.
Yeah. Back in those times. Yeah.
Exactly. So
Man.
there's something to be said for that. The old mom and pop stores, or back in the days when we would spend our time at the shopping mall.
Yeah.
You knew if you were going to buy a pet, you were actually going to get the pet.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't some scam, you show up or you purchase something and then, then you never actually get the animal kind of thing. I've heard a few stories about that recently, so it's in my head. But yeah, right? Or
people just scamming everywhere.
I mean, there's nothing safe. Or you think you're gonna, get an apartment, and there might have been at one point in time a legitimate advertisement for an apartment, but then the scammers take that and manipulate it, and then they, create a job for someone who thinks it's a legitimate job, and then no, I mean, it's everywhere.
It's like just, you really opened my eyes the last time that we talked, and I was just like, she's right. I almost got scammed.
Well, I'm glad our conversation helped make you a little more aware of what something to look out for. That was kind of the whole point of the book that I wrote was, look, your family members, if they're behaving even the least bit different, check on them, because odds are they might be under the influence of a scammer. And if they're being scammed and you think you're doing so good and patting yourself on the back, no one's going to fool me, I'm good. Well, guess what? If you are helping them financially, you are being scammed by proxy.
Yeah.
So help your family members, help them to avoid that, help them to get out of that.
Yeah.
And to do it in a safe way, because if you tell someone you are being scammed, unfortunately, that's going to backfire.
Yeah.
There is a better way. Read the book.
Yeah.
Or visit againstscams.org. Since we're on the subject, I figure they might as well get a plug.
My mom, she's what, 54? She's about to be, she just turned 54. And no, she just turned 55. And so she almost got scammed too, but I had to help her, and my 75-year-old grandma almost got scammed, had to help her. And I'm just like, and I'm like, when people call y'all, just hang up the phone on them. Don't even answer, because they can track you through your phone too. They can track stuff through your phone. And
it's ridiculous. It's everywhere. I mean, if you, I mean, the fact that they're all by the phone. Mine had nothing to do with phone. Mine was all, Facebook or WhatsApp, but yeah, I mean, it's everywhere. I met someone a few months ago who said that she even got caught up with a scammer in person. I'm just like, oh my goodness.
In person?
In person. I have yet to hear her full story, but I'm just like, okay, in person. How did that happen?
Yeah, I don't know if somebody can scam me in person. That'll be hard, because I'm pretty mean in person. So
yeah. I try not to interact with anyone in person unless I've actually met them through someone else I already know, or some other legitimate way. So like I said, I'm kind of curious to hear her story. Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, shoot, I want to know too. Let me know when she tells that story so I can hear it.
I've got to track her back down and get that. Yes, but yeah, it's just the world is not what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it's not. It's not where it's not.
Yeah. So talk to me, because you've got two podcasts. One is about true crime, which is fascinating on its own. And then you also have one that's called She Blurbs. Tell us a little bit about both of those podcasts.
Okay, so the True Crime podcast is kind of like Bailey Sarian's podcast, sort of, kind of, but she tells stories on hers while she puts on makeup. I mostly watch the videos of the stories and have a little commentary on there. So most of the crimes are up-to-date crimes that just happened recently, from 2000, I would say 2016 to now. And I just tell their stories, tell true crime stories, abusive mothers, gang related stuff like that, those type of stories. And then for She Blurbs podcast, it's more of an interview podcast. So I've interviewed people. I don't really tell stories on there. I just mostly interview people. But that one is my main one, and I do that one every day. So every day on She Blurbs podcast is a podcast episode. So
Do you
yeah.
have some favorite guests or favorite episodes you want to tell us about that maybe our viewers need to kind of go, what's it's about? Let's go visit She Blurbs.
Okay, my favorite, I have quite a few because I had 400. So my first one was what is his name? Scott Page, and he is the saxophone player for Pink Floyd. So he was one of my favorite ones. He was funny. He kept it upbeat and live and was like funny and stuff like that. And he was just like, so when you look up his name, Scott Page, it'll come up as with him playing his saxophone, of course, and Pink Floyd. And all the information on his Wikipedia page is, he said, is incorrect and they need to fix it. And I'm like, do you want me to fix it for you? He was like, it's not up to date. And I'm like, okay. So his was pretty funny. He talked mostly about him going on tour with Pink Floyd and playing his saxophone and stuff like that. So that was pretty interesting, and how they have the what do you call it? They have something like a sanitarium, I think. Is that what it's called? Whenever they, yeah, like when you sit back in the chairs and they play the Pink Floyd like designs and play the music with the artwork on the top. You know what I'm talking about?
I hear sanitarium, I think mental health. So I'm thinking maybe not.
Oh,
maybe I'm wrong, but
no, they so you sit in a chair, you look up at the ceiling, and it has like these different like space stuff, and then
planetarium.
Planetarium. Yes. And then they play Pink Floyd music, and he said they do that. And his was interesting. And then the other ones that was interesting was Elizabeth Meredith. So her book was turned into a movie on Lifetime, and it was about her ex-husband, who was abusive to her and her kids. He ended up taking her kids to Greece, like stealing her kids and taking them to Greece. And she ended up getting arrested for going to go get her kids back and bringing them back home. And she ended up spending days in the Greek like prison. And she said she fought so long to get her kids back, but she finally got her kids back and they're finally home. So that one was a good one too.
I think I'm gonna have to find that Lifetime movie because that sounds very interesting. I'd like to see that.
It's for free on. Yeah, it's for free on YouTube. I know I watched it a few times, so it's for free on YouTube.
I like YouTube. I read it once into off topic, but I just have to go there because I really enjoy Hugh Jackman, and he actually does. He's a he plays this role in the musical Oklahoma. He plays the role of Curly. And I don't really care for the movie version of Oklahoma. I love Shirley Jones. Hate the guy who plays Curly. Can't stand him. So finding Hugh Jackman playing this on stage at the Royal London Theatre was like, cool. So it's on YouTube.
What? Did you get to see it? Like, did you get to see him on stage?
Yeah, on YouTube.
Oh, on YouTube. I thought you actually got to see him. I was like, well, that's good too, still. But
travel like 20 years back in time. He was a young fella. But it was just so cool that he played that role because it's a good story. I just didn't like the actor that they used for the movie. But Hugh Jackman, if you could have Hugh Jackman, again, time travel here, with Shirley Jones playing Oklahoma, oh my goodness. But I found it on YouTube. At the Royal London Theatre on YouTube, Hugh Jackman in Oklahoma. Like I said, squirrel, totally off topic, but YouTube, gotta love it.
YouTube is great. It's great. But yeah, go check out those, especially Elizabeth Meredith. I was on her podcast too, speaking about bullying. So she asked me about bullying. So yeah, I was on hers.
Good to know. So as we get ready to kind of round out our show, we still have plenty of time. But what's on the future? What's on tap? You know, I think you mentioned something about you're still maybe in school for some things.
Oh yeah. So I'm in school I already got my associates in paralegal studies, so paralegal, And then I'm in school for my bachelor's in psychology, and then going for my master's in forensic psychology. So all of it is going to be revolved around law and stuff like that. So because I'm interested in crime. So that sounds terrible. but
I mean, but a true crime podcast. It makes complete logic sense.
Yeah, true. I like crime stories. They're interesting to get inside the mind of a criminal. Like, why would you do something like that? Like, the one woman that killed the guy because he didn't want to be with her. I'm like, why not just find another guy? Like,
right? I mean, that would be a logical conclusion, right?
Like, why won't you just find someone else if he don't want you? Like, I don't know. So they just ruin their lives for nothing. But yeah, I really like crime. So that's hopefully in the next 5 years, I'll be a forensic psychologist. Yep.
Very cool. Yeah, I think it's not necessarily that you like crime. You like figuring out the why behind the crime. You know, solving that, and potentially preventing. I think that's what you mean by you like crime.
Yeah.
Just that you feel like you can make a difference. If I was gonna guess.
Yeah, that's right. Spot on.
So if you like crime, you'd be a criminal, right?
Right.
And then, so the overall goal then is to do what? I mean, are you going to be a forensic psychologist and like is it like the FBI? What's the end game for you?
I haven't even thought about the FBI. That would be interesting.
First thing came to my mind. Yeah.
Ooh, I could work for the FBI. I could. I never thought about that until now.
So you thought about a dream job?
Yeah. I never thought about that. But yeah, I could work for the FBI. That sounds nice. And then I know we probably didn't think of talking about this topic, but I am taking acting and modeling classes. Yeah. So I'm in the process of taking those classes. So I haven't got any gigs, haven't done any photos or anything. So I'm in the process of, learning how to do the contouring of my makeup, how to do my hair all pretty and stuff, and how to walk on the walkway. So that's some of the steps I'm taking. And they have a open audition for a horror movie. So I was thinking about reading for that, but I need to prepare myself. So I was thinking about reading for that so I can be in my first horror movie. So yeah.
Well, I'm going to quote my brother. It's good to have goals.
I feel like my mind is all over the place. Like it's the problem with ADHD.
Here's the thing about that. I think it's good to have multiple interests and multiple goals. Maybe I suffer from ADHD too. I've never been diagnosed, but it's possible. But I feel like, it can be channeled. Just because you have all these different ideas doesn't mean you can't go this direction, accomplish something, go this direction, accomplish something. Yeah. And, at the end of the day, those very different goals, those different things you're doing could combine into something. Mm-hmm. Just like when you take, certain ingredients in the kitchen and come up with this marvelous concoction that maybe no one ever dreamed of.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm making my first doggy cake for my dog for her birthday.
Okay. Well, hey, speaking of ingredients, right?
Yeah. I told my mom was like, oh Lord.
Yeah. But learning how to do the contouring of the makeup and maybe, learning how to do stage makeup, my mind goes to someone who does undercover investigative work. That skill set could assist you in that. Yeah. So you've got all these little pieces that actually could coalesce and become something really quite interesting.
Yeah.
True. Apparently unrelated, but perhaps quite related.
Yes. I agree. Yeah. That's good.
So do you have any advice or any suggestions for anyone out there who maybe also has an interest in forensic psychology or in doing a podcast or just in life in general?
Yeah, if you're interested in doing forensic psychology, I would say stick with it. Tough school is so tough, but stick with it because it pays out in the long run. If you're going for something like that, definitely stick with it. And it's a lot of writing, so be prepared to write a lot and read a lot. And then for podcasting, definitely stick with that as well, because you're not going to like get 1 million followers your first few episodes, maybe your first 10 episodes or 20 episodes, but definitely stick with it, and the views will get up there. They will get up there. Trust me, my views have gotten up there. And what was the other one? If I was
in general, life in general.
Life in general, just don't stop believing in yourself. Like, believe in yourself and don't give up. Yeah.
Sounds good. This one might be a tad heavy, but I'm going to ask it. And if it's too heavy, just go, what are you talking about? But if you could change one thing about the world we live in today, what would you most like to see changed?
Let's see. I would like to see racism change, like to where we're not like basing everything on everyone's race and we all get along with each other. Like, that's what I want.
And that didn't take too long to think about because it was there in your heart right from the get-go. I appreciate that because you are absolutely right. It would be so lovely if people, if the race, the color of a person's skin, even their accent wasn't even the first thing that we thought about when we thought of them.
Yes.
And if there could be that piece, kind of love of family, right?
Yes,
just
yes.
The whole human family. If we could can't we all just get along?
Right. Man.
Jack Nicholson on that one. But I have so enjoyed having you here, Brooke, and I'm sure we'll talk again in the future. We'll definitely want to hear later on when you reach some of your goals or any significant milestones. And I might tag you also for some advice, as you are a seasoned pro, and I am that newbie who I've recorded 8 or 9 episodes so far, and I'm getting ready to air my 2nd episode this weekend. So
yeah, I'll look out for it.
Sounds like a plan. Yeah, this one's going to be fascinating because it's the lady who saw a segment of our population who really have been overlooked as viable, really reliable employees. And these are the kids who went through school who suffer from autism. And then once they graduated, they just went home because who would hire them? Well, she not only hired them herself, she is finding a way to get others to hire them. So this interview with her is going to be fascinating. In fact, if you'd like to interview her, I'm sure the more people who hear her message can only benefit.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah.
What she came up with, I mean, oh my goodness. Yes. So watch for that episode, and I think you'll be as impressed with her as I was. But sneak preview, folks.
I'm gonna look at that. I'm gonna watch that.
Sounds good. All right. Well, I'm gonna end our recording, but thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.